The state of Missouri just won a $24 billion lawsuit against China. Let's do my favorite tractor job and chat about it. This is the 8R 340 that Grant surprised me with for Valentine's Day, and it's finally getting dirty. It's a little sad. Let's check the oil. It's a good thing I'm skinny, can fit back here. Now, given that we just bought this tractor, everything should be fine. And I can see oil right up. They even put a little check mark and an X. That's nice. We're good to go. This tractor has a fresh oil change. While the tractor is warming up, let's show you what we're working with today. A 16-row root slicer. Chop, pull, and chop again. This thing is ruthless. You would hate to get in front of this thing. Right now, we are just prepping the ground for planting season, which is right around the corner. Here's the before. All of the corn stalks, stubble from last year, still in the ground like this. This is not a very good thing to plant over. And here is the after. They've all been pulled off. Root balls have been knocked out, leaving us with just smooth, fresh, clean dirt to plant into. I know it looks kind of messy now, but trust me, this is all gonna come together nicely. Before we start, I go through and spin everything to check the bearings. Ooh, well, caught there. Just wanna make sure everything moves. Don't want any plugs when we're going. Let's get this tractor rolling because we actually have work to do today. And then we will get chatting about China. This is one of my favorite tractor jobs to do because it is very satisfying, it moves very fast, and you only have to do one pass. Really just sitting in here and letting the tractor do most of the work. Should be all lined up on my auto steer line. Tractor's warmed up, I can set my implement down and get up to speed. Most tractor jobs, you're going anywhere from 3 to 6 miles an hour. For root slicing, which is what I call it, or stumping, which is what Grant calls it, we're going 11.8 miles an hour. Typically that feels pretty rough, but this tractor is equipped with air ride seat and an air ride cab. So it's a pretty smooth ride. Goes by pretty fast. Even though we have auto steer engaged, meaning that I am driving hands-free, the tractor is steering itself, you still have to be very, very aware of what's going on. Speaking of being aware with what's going on, what have you guys seen about this lawsuit? The state of Missouri's former attorney general filed this lawsuit way back in the beginning of 2020, right when the COVID pandemic hit. And he sued the Chinese government, claiming that they knew about COVID way before they told other people. And then once they did know the COVID pandemic was going to be as big as it was, they were hoarding pandemic materials, PPE supplies, nationalizing factories, and harming a lot of people's lives. In 2020 and 2021, COVID was the third leading cause of death in Missouri. And I am honored to know that their state was willing to take action. I'm confused about why more states haven't taken action like this. The original suit was filed in 2020, but now 5 years later, March of 2025, we finally have an answer. And a federal judge ruled in favor of the state of Missouri. This suit is 6 times larger than the largest suit that has ever been won in the state of Missouri, which makes it a big deal. But it's also a really big deal because it is not very often that other countries get brought into the US court system. Very often, these countries are protected under the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. While I'm talking, could you guys just help keep an eye behind me, make sure I don't plug up. We're looking for a nice even line along here. We want everything to look smooth. China refused to have a representative in court, and even after the federal ruling against them, are claiming that they are not going to abide by it. That being said, federal courts say that the Chinese government owes the state of Missouri over $24 billion, and that number is just going to grow because the suit included interest after the ruling. So that number is just going to get bigger. So is China just going to have a couple shipping containers full of cash to repay the state of Missouri? I do not think that is going to happen, given that they're not even acknowledging this suit. So this attorney general that filed this suit in the first place said that the state is going to get its retribution by claiming Chinese assets, including farmland. And he said that this doesn't just apply to the state of Missouri, but that they can seize Chinese assets anywhere in the United States.
Laura's out in the new tractor, and to move the pivot out of her way so she can get done before the rain comes, I have to use this box. I'm so glad I bought this tractor for her for Valentine's Day. She loves driving it. It's so much nicer than our old one. And just look how pretty it is. I kind of got some flack in the comments for buying too nice a gift. Some of you guys said I was setting the bar way too high. But when you got the best girl, you gotta buy her the best gift. So, so pivots are really slow. It's actually moving right now. And I don't know if it's gonna be able to move out of the way in time. Laura is moving really fast.
On the farm, the work starts before the sun is even up. And staying sharp, especially on those long days, takes more than just coffee. You know that Element is my secret weapon. It's a zero sugar electrolyte mix that helps you fight off headaches, muscle cramps, and that dragging mid-afternoon sleepy feeling. No junk, no chemicals, just real deal hydration, all in a simple packet. Keeps me feeling strong from sun up to sundown. Farmers, ranchers, athletes, moms, people who sweat for a living, we need more salt than what they tell us. And Element gives you just that. Sodium, magnesium, potassium, all right here. Right now, you can get a free sample pack with any purchase. Just go to drinkelement.com/Laura Farms. That's drinklmnt.com/Laura Farms. And of course, they offer a no questions asked return and refund policy, but I'm sure you won't have to use it. Element keeps me and the tractors on my farm running strong, so we so appreciate your guys' support of them. And now, back to work.
All these ice storms took a bunch of these trees down, and they're kind of in my way here. This would definitely ball up the root slicer. It's also not great for planting or harvest. We make the same passes time after time after time all year long. And this would be a very bad day in May with the planter. I think that's gonna be the best I'm gonna be able to do on that one. This is why we call it planting prep. Getting all ready to go. Oh my. A possum died out here. That's kind of gross. Sorry guys. This one looks a little sketchy. This is a pretty big one. It's a good thing I'm strong. Much better. Let's get back in the cab. We're getting this pivot moved out of the way. This is how we irrigate our crops so that we can go right under it. Pick up, slow down, turn the wheel. Nice wide turn. Get lined up. Press button. Press hydraulic. And down we go. Off to the races. China owns 384,000 acres of US farm ground, which is really scary to me. As a fifth generation farmer who spends her days in the tractor cab, just overlooking US soil, it's scary for me to think that everything my grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents who immigrated from Sweden a long time ago worked for could be owned by another country. I just don't understand how the United States government could let that happen, or why does China even need to own US farm grounds? Makes me scared to think, are they stealing our plant genetics? We have a lot of proprietary traits in the crops that we grow in the United States, which give us a competitive advantage. And the thought that those could maybe be compromised is really scary to me. The attorney's name is Andrew Bailey, and he said this is just the first step in a fight in holding China accountable for the havoc that they caused across the world, but in particular the United States with the COVID-19 pandemic. And I have to admit, like I'm sure you guys too, I'm a little bit tired of talking about COVID. It feels like it took over all of our lives. I felt so blessed to be out in the middle of nowhere when the pandemic hit. It certainly did not affect my life as much as it did other people's, but it really threw a wrench in our lives. I mean, nothing has really ever been the same since. There are a few things that I'm grateful for. I feel like we gained a sense of community from the pandemic, and I'm personally grateful because Laura Farms would not exist without the pandemic. I was sent home from college, and that's how I started this YouTube channel. But it feels good to know that the people who are responsible can start being held accountable. Pandemic or not, I just don't think that the Chinese Communist government should own United States farm ground. I think that belongs in the hands of US farmers. Do you think the Chinese government would allow US farmers to own Chinese soil? I don't think so. I really don't think so. The pandemic caused untold suffering and economic destruction, and I think we're going to be facing the consequences for generations to come. It is my joy and honor to spend my days in the heart of rural America, keeping my family's legacy and the traditions they started alive. We definitely have it a lot better in the 21st century. The kind of equipment and implements and technology and practices that we have, definitely do not take those for granted. I am sitting in a climate-controlled cab with an air ride seat. I'm sure my great-grandpa would just fall away if he saw the kind of conditions that I have to be farming in. But I also know that he worked so hard to give me and my children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren a better life. And so my goal is to play a very small part in that chain, to continue honoring their legacy, continue to involve and improve the farm and hopefully expand, and keep United States farm ground out of foreign governments' hands. Lawsuits like this one always seem to kind of trigger a chain reaction. Like if this one was won, now it did take 5 years, but it was won in the end, what other lawsuits against other countries are going to rise up? And what is going to be the results? What does seizing farm ground even really look like? Will that go up for auction? Will that be for sale for farmers to buy back? I'm not sure. I really try not to talk about politics or government policies too much on my channel because I really want this to be a place where you guys can relax and have fun. But sometimes I see things and I just know that I have to at least bring your attention to them. I'm super curious about them and I really just love hearing your guys' thoughts. So whether you approve of this lawsuit or if you have concerns, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I'm just one person and one opinion, but I'd like this to be a place where we can have open discussion, judgment-free. So if you have thoughts or concerns or other things that I may have not mentioned, I would love to hear about them. You're just getting the perspective of a 23-year-old farm girl in the middle of Nebraska. Well, it was bound to happen eventually. You see that big mess back there? These exactly are not really the parts of my days that I enjoy showing you guys, but you know, you're along for the ride. So not just the fun stuff, but the mistakes too. So let's go fix my mistake. I think there's rain coming, so it is definitely a little moist out here, but I was hoping that it would not affect me. Unfortunately, looks like we've got some longer stalks here, like the combine had to pick up. Oh my goodness. Oh my word. Yeah, that is not what it's supposed to look like. We added these black things on, and that has made getting plugs undone so much harder because you can't exactly fit between here. So let's do the best we can, shall we? We're gonna have to dig this out by hand. At least with the corn stalks being wet, they're not as sharp. Yep, there it is. There's our culprits, these long corn stalks. And everything is just ever so slightly soggy, which just does not help. But it makes them a little bit softer. When they are dry, they are so sharp and my hands get really cut up. I think we've almost got it. Oh, there's a big one. Whew, and there it is. Now we have to get these unstuck. Just big root balls. There we go. Now we spread this out so that we don't have to plant through too much of a mess. Everything still spins. We're back in business. I try to hit the rows so that I go opposite of the way that the combine went. So right now I'm driving north, pushing all of these corn stalks over, and the combine went south. So the corn stalks are already leaning towards us and we're snapping them off this way. I love looking at my neighbor's fence line because it is full of baling twine. There is parts of an old refrigerator up there, even an old saw blade. I've just been watching this fence evolve over the last probably 6 years. And he just keeps adding stuff to it, and his cows never get out, so it must be working. Look at how satisfying that is. The dark is where we've been. The light is going to be our next pass. The cab is relatively quiet. You can definitely hear the engine as we go up a hill or down a hill, shift gears. It is a very, very smooth ride. I definitely hear some squeaks from the bearings of the implement behind me. I do slow down just over these pivot tracks ever so slightly. I've got my guidance page up right now, but I keep an eye over here. My hydraulics, the percentage that our implement is set at, it's 14% down, and I have that set so it automatically, when I pick it up, it goes to 100. When I set it down, it stays at about 14 or 15% right there. Here's our pivot point that we're going past right now. These front duals steer so well. Right now, we're using about 8 gallons of fuel per hour. The tractor is equipped with lots of mirrors, so I don't have to crane my neck nearly as much. I can keep a sharp eye out behind me.
She's really catching up to this pivot. You can see the dark line where she's already been. It's moving out of the way. Here's why the pivot's moving so slow. I got a flat tire. That's a bummer. Do you guys see what I see? My trained farmer eye saw this piece of concrete. That would really wreck something. That's bigger than my foot. Glad Laura didn't hit that with a new tractor. Here's another one. Pivot just barely got out of the way. We're all finished up, and I can feel sprinkles on my face. That's a win for today. Got what we needed to done. Always remember to shut the pivot off, because they won't stop for anything. Not even a pickup or a telephone pole or a tractor.
I am always so grateful that you guys choose to spend a part of your very busy days with me. I love making these videos and getting the chance to share some of my favorite jobs on the farm with you, but things are just getting started. Planting season is right around the corner, and this is just the first step of many in getting ready. So if you're new here, thanks for watching. Stick around. I would love to tell you about farming in Nebraska. And if you're part of that crew that's been around since the very beginning, just know I love you guys. Thank you so much for your continued support of me and the channel and the farm. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.